Hey everybody, I'm Rick Beato. Throughout the course of my channel, I've tried to make it a point to champion young musicians whose playing I admire. One of these musicians is Indian bass virtuoso Mohini Dey Hartsuch. I've been following her incredible playing on Instagram for the past couple years. And what makes her style so interesting is the way that she merges her Indian musical roots with rock, funk, jazz, and metal, as you'll see from some of the demonstrations she does in the video. I caught up with Mohini a couple weeks ago while at the NAMM show in LA. Here's my interview. Mohini, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to talk to you.
Tell me about how you got to be such a great bass player at you're 27, correct?
Yes, that's right. I come from a musical family, having my dad as a bass player and my mom as a singer, I guess, kind of helped. Music was always floating in the house. We weren't financially that strong, but my dad had big dreams and very unconventional dreams, especially for India. He wanted to have 2 kids, and he wanted his kids to be, a bass player and a drummer.
Okay.
So he had 2 kids, me and my younger sister. When we were born, my extended family wasn't very happy because we were girl childs. And yeah, like my relatives and stuff, So my parents cut cords with them, and they were like, we don't need you guys. Like, we're happy, we're good, we lead our life, we'll show you what it means to be, girls and be successful at the same time. And there's no such thing as masculine instruments or, all these like things that we were hearing, like, no, don't teach your girl bass, it's a masculine instrument. Don't teach your girl drums, it's too powerful, for a girl and stuff like that. So my dad totally neglected them and totally cut them out of our lives and made sure that we were always in an environment that was inspiring and raised us with very high values, very good, very strict schedule as well, because the culture that I come from, I'm a Bengali by my mother tongue, so all Bengali families always have some type of art-related things growing up. Either it's painting or, dancing or singing or something. You walk into every Bengali family's house and you'll find an artist of some sort. And my schedule kind of looked like this. Waking up 5:30 a.m. in the morning, going to school by 6 a.m., coming back home at 12:30, and then come home, freshen up, have your lunch, and then my private tutor would come home to teach me. They didn't send me to external classes or anything because they didn't want me to get distracted, I guess. They wanted me to be super focused, stay focused, and just practice music and do your academics and stuff. So she would teach me, my private tutor would teach me for about 2.5, 3 hours, and then after she would leave, I would do her homework, and then after that I would do my school homework, and then little snack, and then my dad would give me my music lessons, and then I would do his homework. So that would go on for about 9 p.m., then have dinner, and then go to sleep, and then all over again. So every day.
Okay, so his homework, you mean the stuff he wanted you to practice?
Exactly, all the exercises and stuff.
So how old were you when you started doing this, 5?
I seriously started taking lessons when I was 6 or 7 years old.
Okay.
But I was really already playing the bass at the age of 3. So when he used to practice his bass, he would put his headphones on my ears, and I started tapping the right tempo. And that's when he realized, I've already got rhythm in me, and why not teach her bass? Why not teach her bass seriously, and why don't I let her pursue bass as a career, because there is no female bass player in India. At that time there were none. And it was quite interesting because hearing my story, you would think, oh, so dad decided what you would do, right? It was like that. I didn't have a choice. I had to do what my dad told me.
Okay, did you fight back ever or no?
Oh, absolutely. We used to have a bunch of fights, not at first, but later on when I became more rebellious. When I was probably 13 or 14 years old, that's when I started rebelling really hard.
And saying what? What would be rebelling? I don't want to practice, I don't want to do this, what?
No, I slowly was growing to love music, but I wanted to become a fashion designer. So I was trying to explain to him and and my mom that I wanted to pursue fashion designing. And there came a point in my life where, right after my 12th board exams, I think, and there were 3 golden opportunities where I got offered a full scholarship by Berklee College of Music, and I got called to play in A.R. Rahman's band full-time as his bass player for his movies and basically be a part of his touring band. And the third one was I got selected in the fashion college that I wanted to go, that I'd secretly applied in, and that my family had no clue about. But that was like kind of my secret goal, but I knew my parents wouldn't support it. So, and it was never enough because the culture that I come from, it's so strict that if you try to rebel and try to do something else, my dad would lock me up in the room. You know? Yeah, so like if I didn't get something right, then I would be locked in the room trying to get that right. And until I get that right, I wouldn't be out.
Go back to you're a little kid. What kind of stuff is your dad teaching you?
Just scales, you know, just normal, just C major, and then different shapes. And then Dorian. Just, you know, simple scales and stuff.
Would he teach you funk stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
He would play a lot of music, different kinds of music. He would play Mark King, level 42.
Yep.
So he would first show me how sound is so important, right? So my finger style tone is very different than my slap style tone. This is which is very kind of tight and has a lot of attack, whereas my slap sound is very lot of subs and a lot of high mids, right?
Yeah.
So when I play slap, when I start slapping, it registers more, it cuts more, right? So that's Mark King right there, Mark King's groove. So I would pick up those grooves while watching him on my TV. We had this DVD player and he would play a lot of Victor Wooten, a lot of, Jaco Pastorius, Weather Report tunes, and Brother Johnson, Louis Johnson, Cab, Tony McAlpine, and lots of drummers as well, like Dennis Chambers and Carter Buford, a bunch of music. And so I would just like sit in front of the TV. So this is what would happen. I would watch fashion shows and my dad would change it and play these incredible musicians playing, their instruments. And then he'd be like, you should play this tune. This is really good. This is Lucky 7 from Extraction. Greg Howe, play this. Try to pick it up. And then tonight or tomorrow, I want to see how much you've picked up, and then I will correct you, So that was kind of like every day, like I would learn a tune, Talking about Greg, actually, I'm touring with Greg Howe in October, November this year.
Nice.
So I'm really excited about that. But as a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, I wouldn't have been that excited at that time because that wasn't my dream at that time. It was kind of like my dad put me on this train and I didn't know where the destination was. And I still feel like that. I still feel like I am set to do something and I'm set to be somewhere, but I don't know where the destination is. So that's why music is not the only thing that I do. I have a company on the side and I have a clothing line on the side that runs by itself. I do social media marketing, digital analyzing and stuff. And then on the side, I sell clothes as well. And I manage bands in India where I'm doing event organizing and stuff like that. I love managing the aspect, this managing stuff. So this gives me, I guess, time to kind of fluctuate in and out between different things. Having said that, I'm also recording for a bunch of artists, a lot of great guitar players. I've had the pleasure of playing with Mike Stern at the age of 15. I did 2 tours with him. I did a tour with Dave Wacko. The more I played with different musicians, again, these were things that I never thought I would. It just kind of happened because they were coming to India and I guess they heard that there's this little girl that plays bass. She's really good. Let's try her out. It was kind of like that. And when they heard me, they were blown away and they took me under their wings. And I think at first I started enjoying the spotlight more than the playing. And then later on, when I got tired of the spotlight, then it was like, well, I want to move out of my house. So I moved out from my parents' place at 17 because I just wanted control over my life and wanted to do things of my own and
Was
on
that
my own.
unusual to do that?
Very unusual.
Okay.
Especially for a girl at 17 to move out of her parents' place, very unusual, very rare too. But I was rebellious like that. And he was, training me to be something that was not traditional.
So what was he training you to be?
A bass player.
I know, but
and independent.
What style? What was your dad's? What kind of stuff did he like?
He loved funk.
Okay.
He loved funk. He wanted me to be versatile. He didn't never put me in one box. He always played different kinds of music. But he always said, learn this, learn that, learn this from this person. This is really cool. Do you like this? What kind of music do you like? Do you like R&B? Do you like... So I guess he was trying to suss out like what I'm more inclined towards as well. But at that time, you're a kid, like you're in that environment, everything is exciting and everything is fun because it's new. But then when you hear more of that, it's like, okay, I don't know, But that changed when I started playing with musicians from South India. I was already working by the age of 9. So it's been over 18 years that I've been professionally working in the music industry. And through my years, in the early years, I had the pleasure of exploring the south side of India, where I got to play with a lot of exotic instrumentalists like kanjira, mridangam, ghatam, morsing, like all these unheard of things that I had never heard of that time. And when I played with them, I saw them do things like even tabla, for instance, like they were doing things that I just never knew was possible. And it was really fascinating to me. And I wanted to sound like them on my bass.
Okay, so how would you adapt something like tabla, something that you would take from that?
Yeah, so like, the baya, like the left side, and the right side is the chati. We call it the chati, which is the tongue, the high sound, and then the low sound is the baya. So I was like, okay, I play bass. Obviously, there are frequencies and there are, registers, low register, high register, mid register. So my B string can become the baya, right? And I'm slapping, so maybe my thumb can become the baya, and then the chati can become the pluck.
Okay.
And then all the ghost notes can become my ghost notes, So same thing put into drummer, like looking at a drummer when the kick is being played, that's my that's my bass drum, right? And then the snare is the pluck.
Okay.
And then the hi-hats become my ghost notes. So like when I'm hearing a drummer play, so all the chicka is the ghost note. So I would do. So I'm thinking like a drummer most of the time. And that's where it kind of started. And then I guess I took it to another level when I heard drummers do like really fast stuff, like all the triplety kind of stuff. I was like, oh, okay, I can do that. But again, I was not using my third finger until that point. Only to achieve that sound, I started incorporating my third finger. And then I realized, wow, you could do it really fast.
Right.
And same way when I heard all these exotic instrumentalists play quintuplets, septuplets, and of course the konakol stuff that is really big in India, right? I trained under that a little bit, not entirely, but I picked up few things that really helped me view time differently. So like sevens for me, or just fours to start with, would be taka dimi taka chuna, taka dimi taka chuna, taka dimi taka chuna, taka dimi taka chuna. Now eighth note triplets. Taka dimi taka chuna, taka dimi taka chuna, taka dimi So like if you were to do the 1, 2, 3, 4, taka dimi taka chuna, taka dimi taka chuna. So I use that idea, and then if you were to just keep time, if you could just do that for me, I'll show you how I play it 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's stray. Whatever notes, and then 2, 3, 4. So those ideas I can use when I'm improvising and even when I'm soloing. Now the quintuplet stuff, triplets are easy, right? Like, sorry, but like with slap and even with finger style, I kind of constructed ways to play triplets different ways.
Okay.
Like open string and then hammer on, hammer on. You know? And then to make it cooler, just use the open string. It's non-functional, but still works when you just go half a step up. Because it's so fast, you can barely hear it. So no matter what scale you're in, so, you know, using those ideas. So that's one way. And then like, and then Mark King's way is, you know, and then Victor uses this up thumb a lot.
Yes.
So
That's hard to do, isn't it? The
yeah,
up
it's
thumb.
hard. It's hard.
I always wondered when Victor would do that.
Yeah, it's really hard. It took me
awkward
some
and-
time to, you know, get that, but once I got it, it's really powerful, you know?
Yes,
And
yeah.
then I used that idea and put that in quintuplets. So I just need 2 more notes because
Right.
it's 3, 4, 5, then it's a quintuplet. I can do quintuplets in every beat. I was like, okay, what if I do open string and then hammer on and then do the.
Okay.
So lots of, you know, spending time to try to figure out what could sound like that. So that's how it would sound. So 2, 3, 4. Now get more ambitious, more adventurous, and why don't I put triplet with the quintuplet? So now you could play. So you could play it really fast. And
Mo, what is hard for you to do? Is there anything-
I don't know.
So people that are watching this, you have to follow Mohini on her Instagram. You play every style.
Yeah, I
And it
do.
always amazes me how versatile you are and how
Yeah.
you're interested in all these things.
Yeah,
You play
yeah.
on progressive metal things and you'll play funk and then you'll play fusion with your fusion group. And why are you interested in all these different genres of music, first of all?
I guess I like to see music as one. Maybe that's why. For me, I'm not categorizing that much. For me, anything that sounds good and excites me, I'm down for it, you know? And that's why I think it allows me to not be stuck at one point and be just satisfied with it. Every day is a new day, and when it's just like talking to new people, you know, and vocabularies, for example, you know, really excite me. Like when I come to the US and I talk to different people with different accents and different vocabularies, I am adapting constantly. I still don't think I speak the best English, but
Perfect English.
I know, but I'm saying that because like I'm learning all the time, constantly. I'm a very good listener, and that's why I think I'm grasping things very quickly because I'm very focused and I want to learn. And so I treat music the same way. When I'm listening to people play, I hear different vocabularies and different stylistic ideas, which is exciting to me, and I want to incorporate those good ideas and blend that or infuse that with my voice with my playing. And it allows me to not stay stuck in one place and go beyond that, Otherwise, it's just like, okay, that's it,
How's your reading? Your reading's very good, right?
Well, it used to be better. I still can read, but coming from India, there's not many people that can read that much. But it would take me like 2 minutes to kind of go through everything and then play it right. But if this was me before, I was much better. But nowadays, people don't send charts and and the pace of work is so fast that, there's a MIDI bass and you hear it. That's the reference.
So that's what you do, copy a MIDI bass, for example?
I don't do that. I don't do that. For my clients, some clients will send the MIDI reference, but most clients will not send the MIDI reference and just send the track and just tell me whatever you feel like doing.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, so I will orchestrate my own parts, which is really fun because I love the creation part. I love making songs. I love creating, ideating new things for different, keeping the instrumentation in mind. For me, that's very exciting, even more than performing, actually. I love creating.
How important is improvising to you? We talked a little bit about this before we started.
Very, very important, because if you don't know how to improvise, then there's nothing to talk about.
Expand on that.
I hear a lot of musicians nowadays do great things, very skilled, very technical, amazing in their own ways, but what's missing is the soul and the melody. I always say this, there's only bad arrangement, there is no bad melody. And my band, we all share the same thought. Because you can color, you have the ability to color, you have the ability to shape things, and you are in control of that. But what happens is when you don't have the tools to improvise, when you don't have the things that you can play with to create something harmonically, speaking in terms of functionality, then most of the things are just non-functional and it doesn't make sense. It's just, it might be fun to listen to. It's kind of like gymnastics, how high can you jump, or how far can you throw this ball, It's kind of like that. It becomes more metric. It becomes more how much of that can you do, or how fast can you play? It becomes more about just sport, kind of sporty, you know? But music is not a sport, At least I don't see it that way. Music is about soul, feeling, and intention, For me, intention matters the most. I will hire a musician who cannot read and has soul over somebody who can read and has no soul. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Coming to really orchestrated music, really technical music, and kind of the stuff that I have been hearing nowadays. It's all great. It's really great and amazing. But at the same time, I personally wouldn't hire musicians like that who cannot improvise, because my music requires people to be able to improvise, because I don't want my every night to sound the same.
Right. And that's really the thing. Do you want to have a conversation on stage with the other musicians?
Yeah.
And you want it to be a different conversation every night?
Absolutely. Yeah, I like having different conversations, and I want to be able to explore the possibility of what can happen. I don't want to just limit there by saying that, okay, this is what I can do, this is what I'm great at, I'm going to do this every night. Cool, but that's not me.
You have your trio.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
Right, so the trio, I wouldn't call it my trio, but I would call it our trio, only because the project Mamoji only started because of my husband, Mark. He's the saxophonist in the band, and he was hearing me record for a lot of prog rock guitar players when we had just got married. And from the other room, he's just like, oh my God, whose track is that? And I'm like, oh, this is this person's track. This is Terry Cyrek playing on guitar. And he's like, oh my God, I want to play music like that. But what if we put saxophone in that context, and instead of guitar? What if we do saxophone, bass, and drums and still play prog rock, somewhat prog rock, not maybe entirely. Maybe prog rock musicians, if they hear our music, would disagree that this is prog rock, because there is it's heavy on the jazz side because there are elements of jazz.
Because it has changes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And there's vocabulary.
Wait. Just to explain changes, because people that are watching this may not even know when you say that to a jazz musician, everybody knows, but it's chord changes.
Chord changes, yeah. Changes that you can solo through, that you can make sense of,
Right.
And then there are changes that are functional and non-functional. So I guess a lot of prog rock music has non-functional harmony.
You guys have very sophisticated harmony.
Yes.
That you improvise over.
Exactly. So there are areas in the songs where there are fixed parts.
Yep.
But then there are areas which are solely solo parts for each of us where we can just blow over those changes,
Yes.
right? That's our featured spot because we're good at that, right?
Yeah.
But we also want to see how because this sound, when we first came together, it was very new. Like, even now, I've never heard any band that sounds like this Mamoji, because saxophone playing prog rock parts, it's heavy, but then there's jazz, and then there's Konako because of Gino and I's, history. Gino and I have played together since I was like 11 years old.
Okay, Gino Banks, who plays drums.
Yeah.
Now, I met Gino back in 2018.
Yeah.
And you guys have known each other forever.
Forever, yeah. He's
Right?
seen me grow. I've seen him grow. We've played in so many different bands, including having toured with Guthrie Govan. We've done like 2 to 3 tours with him, and a bunch of other great artists. It really helps us, see music differently because of our different backgrounds. Whereas my band, which is actually quintet, I did a few performances before I released my album in Poland with Gorgo Borlai on drums, Daniel Shibeni on keyboards, Mike Gothard on guitar, and Mark Hartsuch on sax, and myself on bass, and I was doing all the conical stuff, but at that time I hadn't released my album. I was just kind of experimenting with my music, and I wanted to see how people react in the live scenario before I could put out the album. I just wanted to see how people react to my music first. And it was great. It was good. So it gave me the kind of assurance that, okay, this would do well. And I had been getting a lot of messages from a very long time, like, when are you going to release your music? Even when I was playing with AR, even when I was playing with, Jordan Rudess and a bunch of other artists, I kept getting this message like, when are you putting out your album? So there was the demand for that. It was just that sometimes us human beings have this bad habit of self-sabotaging, that it's not good enough, And I was there, sadly I was there. And sometimes, it puts a full stop for some time. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, I don't know. But the more I played with different artists, the more it made me realize, like, I want these guest artists on the songs. The first song that I wrote for my album was Introverted Soul.
Okay.
And I wrote that when I was 13 years old. And that is my biggest hit on the album. That has the most number of views. That is the song that people are talking about. And that was very surprising to me because that was the first song I wrote. And I think that's what I mean by, like, representation and, like, putting your feelings and your experiences in your music. When you have the tools to do that, you are able to do that. But if you don't have the tools, then you will not be able to share your story through music. Then it's just a bunch of talking, know. But I don't like talking that much, I like playing. So I let my music speak for itself. And if you hear all the songs on the album, every song has a story. Every song has something to say, which is a part of my life, has been a part of my life. The song that Narada Michael Walden played on, that was written when I was 14 or 15 years old. And my dad showed me this groove. And it's in 3, and it's hard to... and that was an exercise just to get this going, At that time, I didn't think that I was going to write a song until Narada Michael Walden reached out on Facebook when my dad posted this video of me and my sister playing this.
Right.
And my sister was playing this really funky rhythmic kind of comp thing that she was doing. And Narada said, I want to play on this track. And I was like, okay, I guess I need to make a song then. So this groove led to the song Kick Bass. And then I, got horns to play this melody. And I kind of wrote that song keeping in mind Weather Report.
Yep.
Like, I wanted that big band kind of sound, but with the fusion element, because I'm from India, And so a lot of the songs on my album are about me, my love for music, cultures, experiences, and my love for food as well, because there's Meat Eater, that's me, one of the song names, and then In and Out, that was dedicated to literally In and Out burgers, and First Food Then You, so that says a lot.
Okay, so fusion means a different thing in
Yeah.
India than here.
Exactly.
Wait, well, let's define fusion for here. How would you say Americans think of fusion music?
Well, I guess a little bit of jazz, a little bit of rock, right? I think that's what
jazz
fusion,
rock,
jazz rock. I guess that's
historically jazz rock.
Yeah, but in India, it's also the Indian element fused in with the jazz rock element. That's what we call fusion. When you hear Indian elements in there, like Takadimi Takitas, or like some raga stuff going on where with a little bit of the gamaks, we call it gamaks, but in English it's called grace notes.
Grace notes.
So just different words, but literally the same thing. We talk about it a lot when we're playing music, like you can view music differently, but still be on the same page and still make music together, It's all about the intention.
Tell me some things that you would have transcribed. Would your dad have you transcribe bass lines from people or learn solos at all? And would you learn just bass things? Would you learn sax solos? Would you learn guitar solos?
Yeah, a lot of songs, like I was saying, like, Victor Wooten songs.
Yep.
Let me see if I can remember. So I think that's called More Love or The Lesson by Victor Wooten. So I would transcribe a bunch of Victor songs. I would transcribe Mark King songs like Star Child. Yeah. So bunch of songs, bunch of grooves, and then like Greg House songs that I don't remember anymore, but bunch of just really like odd time meter songs, because my dad wanted my rhythm to be strong. And I started playing with Ranjit Barrett, who plays with John McLaughlin now, when I was only 11 years old. So my time got really strong from 11 years old, and I was already playing polyrhythmic stuff, like 11, 13s, and 5s. So my feeling with those time signatures was super strong. And he's the kind of drummer that kind of doesn't show the one. And he was looking for a bass player at that time. So my dad was a good friend of his, and he introduced me to Ranjit Barrett at the age of 11. And I played one of Victor's songs in 5, And he took me under his wings, and he said, let's play every day. So after school hours, sometimes I would go to his studio. It was called Nirvana Studio. And I would just play with him. And he would be playing with bass players like Jonas Hellborg, Dominic DiPiazza, a lot of great bass players. And I was witness to all of that. So it was a great, kind of master class for me, just sitting there and watching them play. Wow, And then I would ask Dominic questions like, how are you doing this? Can you show it to me? And how nice of him to actually show it to me,
When you were a kid and you're starting out and your dad said, okay, this is your homework.
Yeah.
Play these scales, work on these grooves. Would he make sure that you were practicing?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
He was a very hands-on dad, very controlling dad. But again, his intentions were really good. You know, he wanted me to be independent because he didn't want me to struggle like him and my mom. When they moved to Mumbai, after they got married, both their families disowned them. So they didn't have any help. And so they really had to start from scratch. They had nothing. My mom was wearing my dad's t-shirts. Like, she didn't have any clothes, you know. So they used to live as guests in somebody's home, and they didn't have a toilet. They would knock on people's doors to even use the toilet. They would save food so that they could feed me, you know, stuff like that. So they saw some days that I guess they never wanted me or my sister to see. So they worked really hard together and made sure that we don't ever get to that point. And they, enrolled me and my sister in the best school. We went to the best school. They would have a hard time paying fees, but they did it anyways because they wanted the best education for us, you know. They wanted us to know that whatever they are doing, they're doing it for our future. So he always said, in the future, you will have a very secure life. And you will then understand why I'm doing all these things. It might feel like it's too much right now, but it's for the good. At that time, I didn't get it, but now I get it, you know? And so I thank him, and I'm really grateful for everything that he has taught me, for everything that he has given me in my life. And I get it. You know, I get it. It's very hard to be a parent. You know, I totally see that. And even my mom, like, she was, I guess, my, you know, ride or die when my dad was, you know, giving me all the information and really taught me how to do the business deals in the music industry, not just like how to play, but like, you know, how to deal with people,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And my mom, on the other hand, she always made sure, like, as a girl, like, I am getting all the, you know, like I guess, you know, there's a way parents teach boy kids, and then there's a way they treat you know, your daughters. Like, it's different consoling, it's different upbringing altogether. So my mom always made sure that, you know, I was still getting to be the little kid on the side and not getting swallowed entirely by this like really strict.
So that was
kind
your
of-
mom's job.
Yeah. And she used to work a lot too, but after she had me and my sister, she kind of took a back seat because if everybody's working, nobody's home, and then there's like, it's hard. It's a hard dynamic. So she had to take a backseat, and she was happy to do it. It was her personal choice, and she was, you know, kind of, she was making sure that everybody was fed, and, you know, she was making sure the house is neat and stuff when we would come back home. And yeah, so that was kind of my story. And then my goal in life became that I take care of my family, you know. After I moved out at 17, I moved out with this mentality, which is that, because I fought with my dad a lot, right? And the reason why I moved out was because I didn't want to be in that environment where I'm clashing with dad all the time, because he was a bass player too, and I am a bass player too, and I was taking his jobs away. So there was a lot of like unresolved and unsaid things and pent up things that was just, I guess, you know, he wanted me to be a bass player, but it became hard to accept that when it came to reality.
Right.
I guess he didn't understand that it could really happen, and when it was happening, he just didn't understand. And then later on, when I moved out, I didn't speak to him for like 2.5, 3 years, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, because he was so mad. I was still kind of staying in touch with mom, but my goal was to prove to him that I can do this by myself, you know? Like, I can show you I can do this by myself. And there was a lot of fights at home growing up, so I wanted that to stop, and I wanted to take the responsibility to take care of my mom and family and expenses and stuff like that. And I was able to do that, and I'm very proud of that. And he was eventually very proud of me. And then we were able to have a healthy relationship, you know. But for the longest time, it was really nuts at home, you know. Having two bass players at home was not not good. I don't know. It was. Now I just laugh at it, you know.
So Mo, your father passed away recently.
That's right. Yeah.
You're 27. How old was your dad?
55. Yeah.
That's got to be really difficult.
Yeah, it's very difficult, and I still haven't had time to process that. Since he passed away, every single day I've been busy. Maybe consciously, maybe unconsciously, as a way to avoid understanding the depth. It was very difficult because it was my first loss. I have never experienced loss, and this happens to be my dad. Not just dad, but somebody who taught me everything, So, yeah, I still don't know how to feel about it. I still feel like he's around, he's watching me. That's a good thing, but I guess at some point I will have to just take a moment and just process and understand what has happened. But at the moment, I fail to understand. He was a very important part of the Indian music industry. Everybody respected him a lot, and he had so many students that he was teaching free of cost because that's the kind of guy he was. Even talking to the neighbors after he passed away, I realized that he was helping out so many people from different apartments with their families. And so it really shows the kind of guy he was. He was always looking out, but never looking out for himself. It was always giving, So yeah, I have always respected him, and I still respect him a lot. And if anything, the reality has hit so hard suddenly that I have realized a lot of things that, for example, work is important, but family is also important. Like sometimes it'll be like, oh, talk to you later, I'm too busy or whatever, But yeah, just talking 5 minutes really helps. It just takes 5 minutes, So those things, little things like that. Oh, little things like, changing strings and then giving the strings away to my dad because he liked using my old strings.
Okay.
And my old strings means like just 2 weeks, 3 weeks old. So they're brand new, basically. Yeah, after he passed away, I still do some things like, changing strings and then, I'm going to give it to my dad and then realizing he's not there, or like calling him, like letting him know I just did this or I got this tour, But having said all of that, I know that he was very proud of me because last 3 years of my relationship with him was beautiful.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he was a proud father.
You're out touring. You've been here in the States for a few weeks. You did Steve Vai's camp.
That's right.
You've been to Sweetwater, and now you're here at NAMM. You have your pedal board here that's set up. Is this something that is meant to cover all the needs that you have here?
That's right, yeah.
Go through some of the things that you have on here and what you would use them for.
Sure. So none of these pedals are doing anything to my sound.
Okay.
My sound is coming, my tone.
Yeah.
My tone is coming from the internally built preamp, which is the OBP3 preamp, and my settings here. So this one, which is the stacked knob, the top one is high mids and it's full.
Okay.
And this one is lows, it's full.
Okay.
And this one is mid-lows, it's about 50%. And then this one is the balance knob. It's also at, I only use this when I'm slapping, but right now it's 0 because I'm in fingerstyle mode.
Fingerstyle would be the bridge pickup then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bridge heavy.
Yep.
And this one is volume, and this one is like a booster pedal.
Wait, so when you're slapping, do you combine the two pickups then?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. So all I do is I put the mid-lows to 0.
Yep.
There's no mid-lows when I'm slapping.
Yep.
And the balance knob is at 50%, and that's it. So that's why it's so bright.
Yes.
It's like, whoo, you can really feel it. But sometimes, depending on certain venues, if it's too sub-heavy, then I will dial in a little bit of the mid-lows, and then it'll sound like... hear it a little bit, but just a tad bit,
right.
Just to get that brilliance, the definition in the sound. Because I always go for clarity in my tone because I'm playing faster. Like all the stuff that I play, it's... and I play like a lead instrument on the bass. So I am always looking for definition, because if my tone is sub-heavy, then the same things
No definition.
no definition. So
Yeah.
I don't like that. And so on the pedal board, there's nothing that's doing anything to my tone. These are all just synth pedals, distortion pedals, a little bit of reverb. So I'll take you through my pedal board here. The first on the chain is the monosynth by Electro Harmonics. And this is just, just synth sound. So like... You know, when you're in a trio setup and you don't have a keyboard player...
You do.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, now you do. So there are lots of different sounds in here. And then this is like an OG pedal. Every bass player has
every
this
bass player
pedal.
has that.
Yeah. The way I like to use it is when I want something that is kind of drum and bassy, then I put the drive to 0 and the OC2 to 0, and only OC1
Okay.
is dialed up all the way, and it sounds like this. So you can... Yeah. And then if I don't want that much sub and like drum and bass, then... So just different modes, to desired liking. Now this one has 100 stock sounds.
Okay.
This one
What
is
is that? What is that thing?
It's called the Future Impact pedal.
Okay.
It is a boutique company. I don't think make any other pedals. They
Okay,
only
never
make
seen this before.
Yeah, this is a new one. And I got this 2 years ago, I think. And this has been a great investment for me.
Okay.
And this is, I think, the only, I guess, these two pedals are the only one that I've bought. The others are just given. This one has been a great investment for me because of the different sounds that it has to offer. I'll just take you through a few that I have used in my songs. This one. You know?
That's cool.
Yeah, so like the fluty, and then this one is like... you know? So, yeah, I mean, there's so many sounds. And yeah, you can really tweak also. You can tweak the attack, resonance, balance, level, everything. This one is great for soloing. It's Brainwaves. It's called the Brainwaves Pitch Shifter by TC Electronic.
Yep.
And it sounds like this. Kind of sounds like, I don't know, like higher octave, but also a little guitar-like. Yeah, so this is really great. It really cuts through when you're soloing. This one is a distortion pedal.
Yep.
And it's
Omega.
the Alpha Omega.
Yep.
And another really great distortion.
Classic pedal.
Yeah, classic. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Yeah. Yeah, so this is really great. And this is the Hall of Fame
Yep.
too by TC Electronics.
So when would you use reverb?
When I'm playing melodic stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, like chordal stuff, or pinch. You know? blah blah whatever, and then subbing up by TC Electronic. This one sounds like a Hammond.
Oh yeah.
So this one, when I play, I kind of try to think like a horn player.
Yep.
So. You know? So try, or like. You know? It's really beautiful, this one. And this one is the bass envelope filter by Soundblocks Pro for... You know? And then this one is Ring Modulator by Muga Fuga.
Yep.
You know, that one
It's a classic
is classic. Yeah. I really love this one because when the drummer is going like, and you can like play around with the rate.
Wow. I hear all that sub with that too. It sounds amazing.
It's so good. Yeah, so it's fun, you know, all fun stuff, really fun stuff.
Yeah. I always like to ask people, what is hard to play?
You know, just like keeping a groove and incorporating different time signatures is kind of hard.
Okay.
Just keeping like 4/4 and then just doing different polyrhythmic improvisation. So like. So different like polyrhythms, you know, like 7s and 6 and like 5, yeah. Woo! Ah. So stuff like that.
Is there anything that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'd like to make an announcement. I'm playing Billboard Live Tokyo and Osaka in August.
Okay.
Would like to say that. And then the Greg Howe tour, I think I already mentioned that.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, that one would be nice.
And how many times have you been here to the States to play?
Not many times, but I'm moving to Nashville.
Okay, when's that?
Next month.
Really?
Yeah. So hopefully there will be more opportunities. I think because I live in India, I'm less accessible.
I was going to ask you that because I've been wanting to interview you,
Yeah.
and finally you're here.
Yeah, I get it. I totally understand. It's so far. It's like a 27-hour flight, you know? It's like really far. And it's totally like, it's 13 hours difference, you know?
Yeah.
So totally flipped. In the daytime, I'm like almost like
How long does
really
it take-
dying to stay up.
How long does it take you to get used to it when you come here? Like a week or so?
You know, it doesn't hit at first, but like on the third day, it hits you hard.
Right.
Yeah, the first 2 days, it's all exciting because of the culture shock and stuff. Like I was saying, you know, the vocabularies and stuff, I get really excited. Like I remember ordering steak. This is going to be really funny. I remember ordering steak, and this waitress, she's like, "How would you like it cooked?" I said, "Medium well." And she said, "And sides?" I said, "Both sides." Because like nobody talks like that in India, you know? So stuff like that, it happens a lot. Anyways, but yeah, by the third day, it's like, oh shit, okay, I really need to stay up. So I keep myself busy doing something. And then by night, I'm like, I make sure that I'm tired, so I fall asleep. That's how I kind of get it to this time zone, get myself to get used to this time zone.
Well, when you move to Nashville, it's a short drive down to Atlanta. Love to have you come visit.
That's
It'd be
true.
amazing.
Yeah, maybe we can do some more stuff.
That'd be
yeah,
great.
that'd be great.
Well, thank you so much. Been such a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you too.
Cool.
I'd like to once again thank Mohini for being my guest today. I'll leave a link for her Instagram in the description below. Don't forget to leave a comment, hit the like button, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.